Welcome to Who Wrote That Up For You, a daily podcast that shines a light on the American justice system and its role in empowering the powerful to take from you. The justice system is the only branch of your government where an individual rather than the collective can make the system act for you. It puts power in the individual's hands, but it's broken and being used against you at a time when you need it most.
And welcome to Who Wrote That Up For You. Today is Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. I am Sonia Ebron, one of the co-founders at Courtroom 5.
And I am Deborah Sloan, the other co-founder at Courtroom 5.
And we've got a fantastic show for you today. In a moment, we'll hear from Jeff Cox. He runs the data operation at UniCourt. It's a provider of legal data as a service. And we'll hear a good bit more about that. Further in the show, we will hear from Eric Wright, who's a lawyer or a former lawyer who has some good experience with the court system and particularly the impact on people who are representing themselves. Before we get started, Deborah, what is our issue of the day?
My issue of the day is concerns environmental justice. Uh, uh, Environmental justice, as you probably know, disproportionately affects poor people, women, people of color, and uh, probably 75% of environmental justice cases are African American cases. And people are starting to take municipalities, states and municipalities to court over environmental justice. And they're starting to see their power in going to court rather than just letting things happen.
It's fascinating. You know, of course, that before I got involved in Courtroom 5, I practiced engineering and taught it. And energy utilities are obviously a big issue with environmental justice and environmental concerns largely. And so, yeah, I mean, I think there are lots of communities that are disproportionately impacted by some of the mess we make by burning fossil fuels and so on. I would love to see more people be able to handle those issues themselves in courts. Many of them small, relatively small, not the sort of class action activities that you see the larger environmental justice law firms go after. But certainly being able to represent yourself to clean up some mess in your own neighborhood would be would have a powerful impact on some environmental justice concerns.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, let me, as always, thank our sponsor. Courtroom 5 sponsors this podcast. You know, at Courtroom 5, we believe the courts belong to the people. In particular, they belong to the people who use them. And we, the people, are coming to claim our courts. If you are in court without a lawyer, or if you need to sue someone and can't afford a lawyer to represent you, get yourself over to courtroom5.com and try it for free. Get yourself over to Courtroom 5 and give it a shot, see if it works for you. At this time, let me bring on our delightful friend, Jeff Cox at UniCourt. As I said, Jeff runs the data operation at UniCourt. You'll correct me if I've got this wrong, Jeff, but UniCourt is one of the major providers of legal data as a service. Tell us what that is and what you all do there.
Well, thanks for the intro, Sonia and Deborah. Good to see you as well. UniCourt's a legal technology company, just like you said, that provides legal data as a service through our online app and our APIs. One of the things that we do really well is providing real-time access, so you can stream the court data that you need as it relates to maybe downloading a document in real time if there's something you need connected to your case, to get on-demand updates without having to go through a government website. That could be really tough to navigate, getting alerts for your cases whenever new things happening, and then also doing some other types of really neat data projects. So if you want bulk access to data, so there's a really great research or an analytics project that you're working on, being able to get a bulk access to information that's structured to help you get there. That's one of the things that UniCourt does really well, is providing structured access to information. And then using our APIs, if you're able to integrate them into systems, you can automate process workflows, find ways to streamline things to improve the way that you're accessing legal information.
Fantastic. That is great. And I know you all provide your services primarily to big law firms and Fortune 500 companies. I should tell our audience, we are very grateful to UniCourt for being a winner of your Legal Innovation Award earlier this year. You all are providing us direct access, free, I should say, for some time, access to your APIs so that we can begin to share with our customers the great court data you have. One of the things that's been really fascinating for me is your ability at UniCourt to be able to collect all of this precious court data. This is something that, I think has a powerful impact potentially on access to justice more broadly. What is it about you or your founders, your company, that makes you all interested in making that data available for access to justice purposes?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And only just one thing to add, we also do have a lot of consumers who use our product. A lot of people just need easy access to a case or a document. So we do have a very large recurring base of consumers that use us too. Would you mind repeating the question real quick? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to understand, what is your interest in
providing access to data?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of UniCourt's core missions is to improve access to information and to make sure that everyone can not only access court data, but also get access to court data that's useful. It's one thing to be able to go to a government website and access the data that's online. It's another for it to be actually useful for you, to find ways to meaningfully interact with it. Our founders originally, way back in, I want to say like 2012 or so, needed to get access to court data to help out people involved in debt collection cases. They had founded a debt relief company that was really successful at helping people with settling and eventually becoming debt-free. And so they found this really successful business model. They wanted to help more people. And so they needed to get access to court data to kind of improve the way that they could reach out to people. They went to Lexis, Westlaw, Bloomberg, and just weren't able to get streaming access to court data. So they had this problem, like, how do we get the data? Why don't we try to go get it ourselves? And so they began collecting data from California courts, eventually got really good at adding on federal courts, and so on and so forth. We kept adding on courts. Eventually in 2014, they realized they had another company on their hands, and so they founded UniCourt. With the sense that there's this real problem out there, that you can't get bulk streaming access to the data that you need, whether it's for business development, some kind of market intelligence, or just being able to streamline processes connected to many different industries that need to access litigation data.
That's extraordinary. That's extraordinary. And I'm sure as head of data operations, you've sort of supercharged that whole effort there. Can you tell us, without obviously violating trade secrets or anything like that, just what does the operation look like for collecting the massive amounts of data you are able to collect and stream?
UniCourt's a technology company at our core. We have a really strong engineering and development bench. I think it goes to the credit of our CTO, Prashant Shenoy, who's developed a great program for us out of Mangalore, India. We have an incredible pipeline of students and in engineering who just really love being able to work at UniCourt, because we're kind of on the forefront of gathering and structuring this data to make it useful for people. So not only is it a fun and tough problem, as you can imagine, to solve, but we know that we're helping people get access to information they need. So for us, it's really the engineering and development strength that we have. I think there's closer to 200 or even more at this point, engineers and developers that we have out of India, which would make us one of the larger legal tech companies out there.
That's right. That is fantastic. Great to be a UniCourt partner. Jeff, really accepting our invitation here, especially on such short notice. Where can we find you and UniCourt online?
Yeah, you can go check out UniCourt at unicourt.com. You can see some of the fun stuff we're doing right on our homepage. We have some new things that we're rolling out that we'll talk about more in the future. You can also find us on Twitter at UniCourt Inc. You can also find me, Jeff Cox ESQ. Yeah, it was great being with you, Sonia and Deborah. Look forward to listening to the rest of the podcast.
Fantastic. We look forward to having you back, Jeff. Thanks so much to you and to UniCourt.
All
Have a
right,
great afternoon.
take care. You too.
Fantastic. Thank you to Jeff and to UniCourt for that. Deborah, what is our challenge for today?
The challenge is where each day we present a litigation issue challenge, and I announce the winner the following day. So yesterday's quiz question was, what is the difference between a motion and a pleading? And that on the screen is the question, and the answer is motions basically ask a judge to make a decision on an issue, and a pleading asserts a plaintiff's claim or a defendant's defense. And we got one answer that was from Aya or Aya Coach Jenkins. She's the winner of yesterday's quiz. She got the answer. She answered that question fairly well. And congratulations. Congratulations. Okay. Okay. Congratulations. Okay, let's
Congratulations.
move on to what was that?
Congratulations to Aya or Aya.
So let's move on then to today's question. I'm going to put today's question on the screen now. Hide that one. Put that question on the screen. Okay, you can see today's question on the screen. The question is, in the law, the elements are things you must assert to prove a claim or affirmative defense. So if you're injured in an accident, what are the four things you typically must prove to make the party pay in a negligence case? What are the four things you typically must prove to make a party pay in a negligence case? If you want to take the challenge, send your responses to quiz@courtroom5.com. That email address is running along the bottom there.
That's an exciting question. And just a note, oftentimes those elements are different from state to state, but I
Yeah.
think the type of
Negligence
question
is
you
pretty
have there
consistent.
is
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But if you, when you send in your quiz, if you're concerned that you might be one of those outlier states, tell us what state you're in as well. Might be the winning, you might be the
Good.
winning jurisdiction there.
Right.
Fantastic. All
Right.
right. Good, good. That's a quick commercial break here. Again, we are sponsored by Courtroom 5. Often our customers give us some background on the sort of cases that they are handling and how they came to litigation. Ellen unfortunately passed away, and when she did, her daughter Diane became the executor of her estate. But Ellen's father was a bit, or Ellen's husband was a bit troublesome about that. The daughter Diane didn't have full access, I'll say, to the rights to distribute her mom's property as executor of the estate. She went to sell her mom's car, but found that her dad had actually transferred the title to their brother. So she wasn't able to do that. Diane went to her mom's safe deposit box. There was some jewelry there. She expected that she wanted to share with her sister. Dad had cleared that away as well. And so Diane felt she needed to handle this in court, but her dad had a lawyer. Diane did not. And so she ended up coming to courtroom 5. Going to court without a lawyer is terrifying for most people. As a matter of fact, many people just won't do it. Other people represent themselves, but they expect to get beat up, especially when the other side has a lawyer. At Courtroom 5, our goal is to help you move through the legal process without getting beat up. We provide the tools, training, and support to help you represent yourself effectively. And when you need legal advice or some help with more complicated or time-consuming tasks, you may find access to a lawyer in our network that you can hire on a piecemeal basis. And so rather than paying thousands and thousands of dollars for full representation, to have a lawyer represent you. You might pay a few $100s every now and again just to get you out of the tough spots while you manage your litigation yourself. Remember, at Courtroom 5, we believe the courts belong to the people, in particular to the people who use them, and we, the people, are coming to claim our courts. And so if you're in court without a lawyer, or if you need to sue someone and can't afford a lawyer to represent you, get yourself over to courtroom5.com and try it out for free. All right, fantastic. Now, I'd like to bring on Mr. Eric Wright. Eric, how are you today?
Well, thank you, ladies, for having me.
Fantastic, fantastic. Glad to hear you. And I think there may be some delay in the audio, perhaps video there, but we'll muddle through. Thank you so much for joining us at such late notice. Eric, you're a graduate of Southern University Law Center. I think you've been practicing, or at one point practiced law for about 5 years. I know you're now a legal analyst with Thomson Reuters. Congrats on that.
Yes.
But you have deep experience
Thank you.
with the court system, in particular interest in access to justice. And so we wanted to have you on just to share some of the things you've seen in our court system.
Like you mentioned in the last segment, those who do not have attorneys are very intimidated by the court system, and for good reason. Of course, we know historically it has not been the best place for for people who do not have access to resources or access to wealth to get the kind of justice that they need. So and that challenge hasn't gone anywhere today. I mean, certain segments of population, like where I am here in New York, I mean, the number of attorneys who take cases on a pro bono basis, or the number, or even take cases that are not 100%, are very, very low. So, so still access to the court system is still one of the biggest problems that people face who don't have those resources. And that problem, I would say, is even worse today than it was probably at any time.
It has certainly. I agree with you there. Gotten worse over the years. What are some of the experiences you had as a practicing attorney? I imagine you had to deal with pro se litigants on a regular basis there in the courts. What did you see that got you concerned about just the way our courts operate?
Well, I would even say in my own situation, because again, like I stopped practicing law in Louisiana many years ago, and I became an advocate for myself. And even as an attorney in from another state, I run into challenges, and I know the procedure, I know the process, and I can just feel the resistance that's there. So I think inside of the court system, there's this there's this thing that's built up. I can't really put a name on it, that doesn't make it easy, or it doesn't necessarily support people who trying to defend themselves against anything. So it's almost like the system pushes you towards going try to get a lawyer, and a lot of times you could probably do it yourself, but the system is geared to push you out of it so you can go and feed the machine of the businesses, the law offices that are around there, and as opposed to trying to do it yourself. The court has very little patience with people who do not understand the process, and even me, I understand the process, and I still find myself running into difficulty.
As many people do, absolutely. One of the consequences, I think, of our federal system, if you will, is that lawyers who are licensed in one state or jurisdiction don't have the right to practice in another. So, you might have been a
Yes.
member of the bar in Louisiana or whatever state and had to handle some legal business in another state. right? You don't have an automatic right to represent anybody except yourself, right? And the
No,
laws are different. The code, the
exactly.
rules are different. It's all so very complex. Absolutely. And so
It is very
if a lawyer, absolutely, if someone trained in the law has difficulty operating in a different state, right? The difficulty of the average person, someone who's not necessarily trained.
exactly. And it's not necessarily that it's difficult, is that they make it difficult. Um, because again, it's something that's not accepted. It's shunned upon. It's they want people who don't know what they're doing coming into the court system and and muddying up their already muddied waters. And that doesn't need to be that way. I mean, law is one of the bedrocks of this country, and now in the year of 2022, like it should be it should be way simpler than it is right now. Again, this is a machine that has to feed a lot of people, and so that's why I think it is the way it is.
It has to feed the guild. That's right. Really appreciate you coming on and sharing that
That's
perspective,
right.
Eric. For people that want to hear more about you, I think what's unique here with you is that you are trained in the law and share readily this perspective on how it is mistreating people and how it's set up. And so I think, we'd certainly like to have you back
Hmm.
on. For others interested in speaking with you, where can they find you online?
Well, I'm on all social media platforms. My name is Eric F. Wright Senior. I could be reached on Facebook or Instagram or on TikTok. That's the new thing now. I can be reached on all of those platforms at Eric F. Wright Senior. That's it.
Fantastic. Fantastic. We'll share that in the show notes. Eric, thank you so much again for being on Who Wrote That Up for You. We will see you
Awesome.
again.
Thank
Best
you,
of
Eric.
luck.
All right.
Thank you again. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Deborah, as I think about the conversations we've had with Jeff at UniCourt and with Eric, with Mr. Wright here, I just, there are some changes that need to be made. I think I'm so happy to be a partner for Courtroom 5 to be a partner with UniCourt. And the fact is though that the courts and the way they deal with our data have created this opportunity for UniCourt. It's great that
Mhm.
UniCourt is able to exploit it with a focus on making it accessible to people. But frankly, it ought to be accessible. This is our data, right? And so we are
Absolutely.
certainly happy to partner with UniCourt to help make that more accessible through our software, and just really proud of the work they've done on a technical basis to make that data accessible to people. But this is government data. This is our data that we're having access there. And then when I think about Eric, again, it is so important that we do something about this legal guild that has taken control of our court system and really force people to, as Eric said, feed it, right? Rather than they've made having a lawyer a must-have in many instances, rather than a nice-to-have, which I think was the original intent.
Yeah, it's a lot of hide the ball, you know.
Yeah,
Just let's not tell them the rule, and because the lawyers need to know the rules, and let's not tell the pro se litigants because let's not make it easy because everybody needs a lawyer, or
yeah, yeah,
they need to just go out and get a lawyer,
yeah.
and so they just make it difficult in that way.
That's the word. That's the word. Listen, we've really enjoyed today's show. Thank you to our two guests. Hope to see them again. That's all we have for you today. As always, please join us tomorrow. Get your quiz answers over to quiz at courtroom5.com, and we'll call it a wrap. Thanks so much, everyone.
Are you feeling beleaguered? angry or afraid, as if things are spinning out of control and you're powerless to stop them? It's easy to just let things slide and hope they don't get worse. But they often do get worse. The thing is, you're not powerless. Our courts belong to us, and their purpose is to give power to the powerless. Don't let your grievances pile up without redressing them. You can handle this in court. Or, if someone takes you to court, you can take them to school.